Can we hack our metabolism to lose more weight? In this video, I'll dive into what the research says about this question, break down the science behind metabolism and metabolic rates, as well as share some of my thoughts on simple habits you could implement to manage your weight from a metabolism perspective. Hi, I'm Chung, a qualified nutritionist with a master's in nutritional sciences, here to share with you the latest evidence-based findings on healthy eating and living. In biochemistry, the word metabolism is defined as all the chemical reactions that occur in our bodies to keep us alive. And when people talk about metabolism and weight loss, what they are actually referring to is our metabolic rate, and in particular, how much energy we use in a day. I've mentioned this in previous videos, but we will lose weight when the energy out is greater than our energy in over a sustained period of time. The proper term for the total energy out per day is called our total energy expenditure. This primarily consists of three portions. First is the basal metabolic rate or resting metabolic rate. This is the basic amount of energy needed to keep our cells functioning, maintain our breathing, keep our blood pumping, and essentially keep us alive while we are at rest. These two terms actually mean slightly different things due to the exact way that they are measured, but for most practical purposes, they are used rather interchangeably, and in this video, you will hear both terms being used. The basal metabolic rate usually constitutes around 60 to 70% of total energy expenditure, and this portion is usually what most people are referring to when they talk about faster or slower metabolisms. The second component is the thermic effect of food, which is the energy required to digest our food as well as absorb and store the nutrients. The thermic effect of food is usually around 10% of total energy expenditure. Finally, the third component is activity-related energy expenditure, which would include non-conscious movements like fidgeting, as well as conscious activities like exercise and things that are in between like walking from your house to the bus stop or the subway station. This portion is usually around 20 to 30% of total energy expenditure. There are various equations such as these ones here that can estimate your basal metabolic rate based on your age, sex, height, and weight. In metabolic experiments, these equations might also include the amount of fat mass and fat-free mass of individuals. The basal metabolic rate can then be adjusted to your physical activity level and used to estimate your total energy expenditure. If you calculated that your total energy expenditure is 2,000 calories per day, that would essentially be an estimate of your maintenance caloric intake, which is the amount of food and drinks you could consume in a day while maintaining a relatively stable weight. With this picture in mind, there seems to be four things that we might be able to manipulate to manage our weight. First, the amount of energy we take in through food and drinks. Second, our basal metabolic rate. Third, the amount of energy we burn due to the food we eat. And fourth, our physical activity level. However, as I shall explain later in this video, only two of these energy balance components are true levers that we could try to manipulate in our quest for weight management. Before I go into that, if you are learning something in this video, help me hit the subscribe and the like buttons and turn on the notifications. That's the best way to have YouTube notice this video and help me get this video to others who might also benefit from it. You could also check out this other video where I go into other evidence-based methods for managing your weight. So, can we truly hack our metabolism, that is, manipulate our basal metabolic rate to help us lose more weight? Let's answer this question by looking at a couple of studies. Number one, when we lose weight, our resting metabolic rate will decrease. This sweeping review took a broad look at 90 studies that involve any kind of weight loss intervention and found that resting metabolic rate was decreased by about 15 calories per kilogram of weight loss. Number two, our bodies have evolved to become very good at protecting us from losing weight. And when we lose weight, our resting metabolic rate not only decreases according to our body weight, but actually becomes even lower than what is predicted from equations. This phenomenon is known as metabolic adaptation. One of the most extreme and widely publicized example was this study that looked at 14 participants who lost a great deal of weight in a televised weight loss competition called The Biggest Loser. The participants lost on average around 58 kilograms at the end of the 30-week competition, and their resting metabolic rate was found to be reduced by 610 calories per day. After 6 years, the participants gained back on average 41 kilograms, meaning that on average, they still lost about 17 kilograms. Based on their new body weight and body composition, their predicted resting metabolic rate should have been decreased by 200 calories per day. But in reality, it was actually decreased by about 700 calories per day. The difference of 500 calories per day is the phenomenon of metabolic adaptation, where the body is somehow able to turn the dial down on various processes in the body such that it burns less calories per day in its attempt to maintain its weight. This is an area of active research, and this evolutionary trait is an amazing feature when ancient humans were not sure when their next meal might arrive. But it is a big problem in our current environment of easily accessible and overly abundant food choices. This is one of the reasons why weight loss is such an uphill battle. So, putting things together, trying to manipulate our basal metabolic rate during weight loss is largely a futile attempt for two reasons. First, when we lose weight, our basal metabolic rate will decrease. And second, it actually decreases more than what is expected due to metabolic adaptation. Let's now take a look at the second possible lever, which is the thermic effect of food. Trying to increase the overall thermic effect of food will not make sense when we are trying to lose weight, since we will be eating less and the thermic effect of food will decrease proportionately as well. There are some minor tweaks to potentially reduce the amount of decrease, and I will mention this later in the video. So, if trying to hack our metabolism and manipulate the thermic effect of food are probably not going to lead to very meaningful outcomes, what are the two levers that could actually make a difference in weight loss? I'll dive into that in a little bit, but if you are enjoying this video, do help me by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Turn on the notifications as well so that you don't miss out on any new content, and that would really be the best way to support this channel. So, what are the two components of the energy balance that are truly important for weight loss? As you might expect, the first component would be controlling the total energy intake through the amount and type of food that we eat. It's easy to say, just eat less or just count your calories, but as we all know, that is easier said than done. Time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting is one way of eating that works well for many people in terms of reducing their daily caloric intake. I've covered this in another video that I'll link here as well as link in the description, and you can check that out after watching this video. Are there other tricks that could help to reduce our caloric intake? The short answer is yes, and I'll share those tips in a little bit. What's the second component that we could leverage to help us lose weight? That would be the physical activity portion of the total energy expenditure. There are hypotheses that part of the reduction in total energy expenditure that is observed during weight loss is actually due to subconsciously reduced physical activity. This study used rigorous methods to measure the total energy expenditure as well as the basal metabolic rate of participants who lost 10.4 kilograms over 6 months. At the end of the 6-month experiment, the researchers estimated that the participants' energy expenditure due to physical activity was lower by about 150 calories per day. What this study showed is that the body is extremely smart in terms of protecting its weight. And when we are in a caloric deficit, we may unknowingly reduce some of our physical activities. This could include getting up from your chair or sofa less often, taking the lift when you normally take the stairs, or even to the extent of reducing exercise frequency or intensity. So, given these two levers, what are some things you could consider implementing if you are trying to manage your weight? Number 1, eat hearty, high-fiber meals. I've discussed this in another video, and I'll drop a link in the description below as well. In that video, I explained that there are 3 reasons why high-fiber foods could help us lose weight. And the gist of one of the reasons is that high-fiber foods are highly satiating. This will help to keep you full for a longer period of time and help you stay away from snacks and unnecessary calories. Number 2, eat sufficient protein. I'll do a deeper dive into this in another video, but eating sufficient protein has a few potential benefits. First and foremost, protein is also relatively satiating and will help to manage the intake of overall calories. Second, protein has the highest thermic effect compared to carbohydrates and fats, and so will add a small bump to your overall energy expenditure. Third, eating sufficient protein will help to preserve our lean muscle mass, which is important in maintaining our basal metabolic rate, with the additional benefit of preventing frailty as we age. So, what is a sufficient level of protein intake? Drop your target weight into the comments and I'll send you a range of protein intake that you could work into your daily routine. Number 3, maintain a regular exercise routine. This could take many forms, including why walking 10,000 steps a day is a good piece of advice. The important thing is to be conscious of your physical activity and build a simple habit that you can adhere to. If you play a sport, continue the frequency of that sport when you're trying to lose weight. If you do resistance training, do the same and keep up the same frequency and intensity. Or if you practice yoga, keep to the same yoga routine before and after you try to lose weight. If you've gotten this far and you know someone who is trying to manage their weight, the information in this video is probably useful to them, so share this video and see if it helps them. See you next time.